Dum dum ba da 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 dum ba dum bum ba da 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 dum 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 da dum ba dum 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 da dum. Hello. Ugh, I'm so uncomfortable. Well, time to don the fez. I didn't do a song last Fez. I really liked that song. I was singing along to the Lemonheads, and some of you saw it posted, and then apparently the Lemonheads have some deal with some record company, so they killed the audio on the whole thing, and so I had to take it down. Which is my strategy. In case they take it down, I just do the music part at the very beginning, and then cut that off in case, so I don't lose like a whole 15 minutes or something. All right, time to don the fez. Greetings, fellow citizens. This is Citizen Kong, and welcome to another Fez Night. Tonight's Fez Night shall be called Mondo Fez. Mondo Fez. A little self-conscious here. Yes, notice I'm wearing a jacket and a tie, and the reason why is I just wanted to be special, the special Fez. No, earlier on this week, I got a phone call. Somebody saw my resume on the internet on one of the job finding sites, and they asked me to come in. So, oh great, an interview, and then they said it's a professional atmosphere, so would you please wear a shirt and a tie? And I took that as a red flag. I've never heard any welding jobs requiring a shirt and a tie for an interview. And so I said, I'm a welder, And they said, oh, no, we looked at your resume and we do. I said, what do you do exactly? And they said, oh, we work with unions and construction and that sort of thing. And so I said, okay. So at the last minute, well, I put out a shirt the night before and a jacket I was going to wear. And God, the next morning I was getting ready to go. I could not for the life of me remember how to tie a tie. Now my old man, my dad, taught me a single Windsor knot, and which most businessmen wear a double Windsor knot or a full Windsor knot. But I never learned how to do it that way, and I couldn't remember how to do a single. And I was looking on the internet. YouTube has videos, guys like how to tie a tie, and I'm like, I'm panicking. I had plenty of time to get ready, and then I can't tie a tie. And then later I got in the sunlight, and it was a white shirt, and I realized this shirt is not clean. Like an idiot. Last time I wore it, I just said, I was probably drunk or something. I took it off and just hung it up, And probably was drinking involved. And so I felt so self-conscious, and I got there and I sat in the waiting room. I was late for my interview, and then there was a bunch of people, and this office building was in real bad shape. The men's room wasn't working, or the women's. Both restrooms are closed. The sign for the company was a piece of paper on the door. So I go inside, and I'm totally the oddball. There was a couple women wearing office attire, and women are kind of, there can be a little bit of variety in what they wear. But the men, it was all the same, like shiny black shoes. I had shiny black shoes on. I was wearing my Doc Marten steel-toed boots. Not the boots, but the Doc Marten steel toes. They were kind of fashionable for a while. They looked like an Oxford, kind of, but they have like a round toe because there's a steel bit in there. And, for my cool hipster days. And, and nice dress shirts and a tie, and they were like colored shirts, different colors. And then some of them were, some were in full business suits. And I thought to myself, oh man, these are other desperate people that are unemployed, willing to just take a chance and come on down and see what it's all about. And Turned out, you know what it was? It was selling life insurance. And I joked the other day with somebody. I said, "Oh my God, you know, desperate enough to sell life insurance." I mean, you know, the joke. Remember on Groundhog Day, the Bill Murray was like this old friend he knew, and he was like dreading running into him every day. You know, when it started over again, because the guy was trying to sell him life insurance. Oh, and the interview was not good. I was totally honest with the guy. I said, I forgot how to tie a tie, you know, and all this. And, you know, he asked me, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And I just said, okay, what the hell? I got nothing to lose. And I said, well, you know, I did enjoy working with my hands, but one of the things about being a welder, I was the odd man out. And I think some of my strengths is my vocabulary and writing. And he said, no, you don't sound like a welder. Oh, what is a welder supposed to sound like? So anyway, yeah, I never quite fit in where I worked. But I was good. I was good at what I did. And that allowed my boss to put up with a lot of my bullshit over 25 years. Friggin' pops trying to get under my skin. Oh, your job, they kept you on out of sympathy. Give me a break. Those are the most unsympathetic people you'll ever meet. My boss is one of the cold-hearted people. I remember I was telling him about like, I was working on these Spitfire exhaust. And so I was doing a little bit of like research. They were made by hand. And they were made out of mild steel. The version I was making out of was a stainless steel. I've talked about this before. And I could truly say that I was the only living man on the planet Earth that could hand forge a set of, boy, but it was hard. There was a lot of trial and error and a lot of like mistakes. But I figured out how to do it. And so I was the only living man on the planet that can hand forge a set of Spitfire exhaust. And, you know, the British Spitfire, World War II fighting plane. And what was my point? Oh, I was talking to my boss about it, and I was doing a little research, you know, on it, and I read that, you know, how many hours it took to build an entire Spitfire. I don't remember how long it was, but the Germans were able to build their fighter planes at something like a third of the time it took the Brits, and then the reason why, it was like slave labor. They were using slave labor, mostly Poles, and practically had a gun at their heads, you know, work, 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 or we'll kill you, or, you know, send you someplace really bad. And I was telling that to my boss, and he goes, "Oh, that's great. That's a great way to, I wish I could do that with you guys." And he was there was a part of him that seemed pretty damn serious. I mean, there was no empathy at all for what these people had endured, you know, at the hands of these Germans. You know, not that all Germans are bad, but, you know, there was a war. I mean, here in the United States, they worked people pretty hard, but they got to go home, you know. They still enjoyed their freedom. Same with the Brits, you know. They could still stop for tea or have a coffee or something, you know. It wasn't the same as going back to a barracks, a prison cell or something. Anyway, that's why I'm wearing a shirt and tie, so I can practice my necktying. Then the other crazy thing is I pulled out some dress shirts. This isn't a real dress shirt. This is a Levi's shirt. Is that another dress shirt all ready to go? And I couldn't button the top button. And this one's super tight. As try as I may, I could not button it. And at some point, I guess I was even skinnier. I could wear that shirt, and because I know I did. And so I'm giving that to AmVets or Goodwill. There's no way I can, I mean, the rest of the shirt fits great. I could wear it as an open collar, I suppose. Oh, but there's no way I can button that top button to put a tie on. And I was thinking, in rare instances, do you ever see truly intelligent men wearing a suit and a tie? You know, one of these ties. You know why? Because it chokes off the blood to your head. You can't think. No wonder all these businessmen are like, got one-track minds and stuff. Okay, I'm just jealous. I'm jealous of people that make a lot of money. I don't quite understand it. All right, so here's some notes I took. And first of all, there's been I got a couple PMs. And this person was really Barefoot Kong Boy. I don't know. I got really nasty PMs from him. I didn't block him, you know. But he was saying like, oh, you and the NOE are finished, and you know, I'm going to get revenge on you or something like that. Look, to anybody else that's confused, I no longer associate myself with the NOE. I'm not NOE, Network of Evil. Okay? I'm done with the groups, except for the Royal Order of the Fez. And the Royal Order of the Fez, we're keeping watch on the groups, okay? We're like the underground network. What's our motto? We are everywhere, yet nowhere. Yeah, Dr. Bender is an expert in PSYOPs, psychological operations. So, yeah. Oh, and speaking of the Network of Evil, which is defunct and pretty much not the same as it used to be. At least it used to be interesting. I don't know, you know. It's clamoring for significance. It's practically like in its death throes. Death throes. It's final gasp. It's gasping for air. Laying on its deathbed. The death rattle just moments away. Yeah, meanwhile, Nebish knows, you know, if you visit the pages and read the comments, Nebish knows is over there acting like he's somebody in charge of everything. He's saying, oh yeah, Pops is still Godfather of the NOE, but we've got another Pops. Runnermouth is this Godfather for this other group, and there's the NOE Prime, and la 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 la, and so-and-so's fired, and the eggs aren't NOE anymore. And he's just like talking to himself. He's made all these promises about making videos about Al Capone. Still nothing. Nothing. And he's talking, oh, you just you wait. Just you wait till I start making videos. The guy is like a babbling idiot. And I don't know. Why do I even bother go over there? I don't know. But it's part of that drama, you know. The weird stuff that happens on YouTube besides the videos. And meanwhile, I just watched a great video by Casey Nunez. Now look, Casey, you've been pretty out of control in the past and done some pretty weird stuff. But somehow you're pulling it together as sort of with a going for legitimacy. And I'd have to say your interview with Shayna Hurdle was a really great video. And I know you dropped by his history tours. I think you blocked Citizen Kong on your history tours channel. I don't know, I might have said something that annoyed you, which I usually do. It's so funny though. You used to be a buddy of Torp, and now there's a big falling out, and you know, Torp has really become persona non grata. This business about, what was it, that you were threatening his family? If that were true, Casey was threatening Torp's family. If that were true, you know, and check out Real Man. He's always talking about stuff Torp does. If that were true, why post a video about it? Just contact the authorities. You know, and if you bring the authorities in and they say, oh, look at you're talking about on YouTube, they'll just go, you're another one of these troublemakers bringing it on yourself. You know? If it were true, you wouldn't be doing that. So anyway, I liked Casey's interview with Shayna Hurdle. What he did is he took some footage and re-edited it, but it was pretty cool. Oh, yeah, this is a great quote. I'm reading this shit on Nebish's page. Then he's talking about the eggs. Oh, how like they're not NOE or they should be kicked out or la 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 la. And the eggs have been away for a while. There's been very little activity. But I don't know why, Nebish. You bash on everybody making videos. You bash on their videos and blah, blah, blah. They're no good or not. But you don't do squat yourself. You know, you make all these promises, you haven't done squat. And these videos that are being posted on Racer Hex, That's not you. That's some old footage of you and somebody dubbed a voice on. I pretty much know who it is. Oh, there was something I was reading through the comments where Nebish is talking to himself. God, this collar's so tight. I think I'm about to pass out. There's a... Yeah. He says, this is something he wrote on his page, okay? The next bloogers that join the NOE is going through a IQ test. What makes this so funny is that the NOE is going through a IQ test. This is, I don't know what you call it. Would it be ironic or just plain stupid? He spells through T-H-R-E-W. And he's saying other people should go through an IQ test? No, but you need to go back to elementary school. Yeah, I know. I'm picking on spelling and people's grammar, and I leave whole words out of sentences. You know, like for, or at, or the sometimes because my brain's going. And I'm writing a comment, and I forget to proofread it before I post it. But Nebish, if you read what he writes, it's consistent babbling, consistent like just nonsense and misuse of words and misspellings. And maybe it's a certain style that he's tried to adopt, but I don't think so. I think that's all he's capable of. And then sometimes when you see like it's written somewhat intelligently, he's copying and pasting off of Wikipedia. I'm willing to bet. Yeah, and I got somebody posted, come up my page and said, Ron and Bungle, I think is the name of the channel. Can't even read my own handwriting. Ron and Bungle. And he said he just got blocked by Nebish. Well, see, what happened is, I could say, in this, most of the time I say people that block, like, at the drop of a hat. I don't do that, I think it's better to play along for a while, unless they get really rude. But I ended up blocking Nebish. And he blocked me. But what he would do is come and write, like, 10 comments right in a row, just filling my page with his nonsense. I tell him, look, stop that. I'll block you, And I'd give him like a temporary block, like a 24-hour block or something like that. So I said, yeah, okay, I'm blocking you for 24 hours because you just won't shut up. And he says, oh, I'm blocking you permanently. So we both blocked each other mutually. I get teased about drinking tea, like, oh, you're great. Oh. Look, man, I used to proudly drink gin or rum and coke or whatever. Even I've done White Russians in the past. But since I quit working, I've even in the past few months stopped smoking, the other stuff. And I still smoke tobacco, but because, I got to get serious here. And then having the alcohol, I just had to quit drinking. And there's got to be an incentive, to get my shit together and go to more job interviews. It's like selling life insurance. Look, I guess I could say it's a job, but man, no. The system, the way it works, I looked at this company at the internet. They get as many people as they can through the door, and just like, oh, did I tell you that they said congratulations to come in for my second interview? My interview sucked, And yet they're calling me back. They'll take anybody. They don't care. Because the thing is, they'll get you in there and then just like, people just fall by the wayside. I mean, I could never be a salesman. The only time I could sell a product is something where they want it. Like they're coming in to buy a tool. They want to buy a hammer. I don't have to sell them on the idea that they want a hammer. They already want one. And I could tell them what's the best hammer to use for different applications. I mean, that's the kind of sales job I could do. But there's very few sales jobs that are like that, Even car sales, when you walk in there wanting a car, but there's all this other nonsense that goes on. We know how much the hammer is going to cost, how much write-up on it. But the car, it's all a mystery. They want to keep it a mystery, Then there's all these add-ons. Anyway, enough of us know about buying a car. What else? Let's see. I hope my sound doesn't go out of sync like it did before. Yeah, I wanted to say one more thing. Jeff Davis, Nigel Cromwell. You probably made one of the best videos you ever made. The one that I truly, truly laughed. You know, not like, oh, that's smart, or, oh, that's so, like, Nat laughed nervously, I can't believe he did that. No, that was a very funny video. People that are interested, go check it out. It's not the usual fare about, you know, guys taking it up the ass, or, you know, or babies being kicked, or, you know, or penises being chopped off, or, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, or you know, stuff along racial themes. No, it's actually it's actually very clever, and it could be fun for the whole family. A little child might get upset, maybe a very young child, but it's all about his dog Bella, and what what an obedient dog Bella is. That was very, very good. Yeah, you know, me and Jeff are on the outs, but I have to give him his due, you know. So, speaking of Jeff, well, not exactly speaking of Jeff. What should I say? Oh, I'll save that for later. Okay, real quick. Not like last time where I give the whole movie away. Okay, I'm going to do more like to encourage somebody to watch a movie, or that you might find interesting, to tell you about it, but not everything that happens in it. I'm not going to give anything away. So this movie that I watched, I found very intriguing, is called Good Dick. Okay, it's not about a guy named Richard. Okay, or a private eye, but there's these like, you know, young slacker type guys. You know, young men working in a video store. You know, the kind of guys that, you know, one guy has a girlfriend, but they break up. They're kind of the dudes that like are experts on certain kinds of trivia, certain movies and stuff. They're very, very intelligent, but they haven't found their way in the world, you know. So they end up working in a video store and not making any real money. But I'm kind of envious of that sort of like slacker job, which I never really had, like working in a record store, or being a barista in a coffee house, or you know, working in a video store. Even though video stores are on their way out, record stores are on their way out. Where are these people going to work? Hang around tattoo parlors? I don't know, but I've never had a job like that. But I've always been envious of it, because it's sort of like, you know, even though they're not making any money, they've got attitude, you know? Like, you come in looking for records, like, you don't know your music, you suck. Oh, you want that? Get out of here. You know, or they just kind of look down their nose at you, like, you know, Barry Manilow. Let me get the tongs. Here you go. So, yeah, these guys are working in a video store. And this young woman comes into the video store, and she comes in, I think, every day, dropping off a movie and then checking out another one. And all she rents is soft porn. That's it. And she never says a word. She just comes in. She looks like really, kind of like really out of it. She doesn't say a word, you know. Her hair's all greasy and stuff. And she just rents soft porn. And the name of the actress, and she also directed the film, is Mariana, I'll say it Palka, Palka. And she's the one that goes in the store. She directed the film too. And she's actually a good-looking gal when she gets cleaned up later, but she doesn't look too good in the beginning of the movie. And Jason Ritter is the guy behind the counter. And the other guys are like, oh, here she comes. And Jason Ritter like gets up, so he's going to wait on her, you know. And one point, he even makes a I'm going to start telling you the movie now. But, so a romance, it's a love story with Jason Ritter, this guy that works in a video store, and this young white woman, I don't know, late 20s, that only watches soft porn. And boy, is she a head case. Oh, and it's sort of what, I guess I enjoyed it. It's sort of, she reminded me of an amalgam, or a, what do you say? I want to say amalgam, but there's another word for it, where there's somebody's a combination of things. Like if you took a lot of my the women I've dated and ex-girlfriends and sort of took traits of each one and put it into one. Gal in that movie's like that. And I saw similar things that I had to deal with, you know, trying to get like through their baggage and stuff. And this guy's got, he's got the patience of a saint. I wouldn't have this patience. But it's a really good story, you know. You'd think not, by the way I describe it, but it's an interesting story. I mean, I enjoyed it. And Tom Arnold plays a small part in it, and he actually does a pretty good job. He plays her dad, this really sleazy, rich guy in a big office building, you know. Yeah. This gal doesn't have to work. She just sits in her apartment and watches soft porn, basically, and just, you know, places a mess, and she just doesn't have to work, you know, trust fund or something like that. All right, that's my review for Good Dick, starring Jason Ritter and Mariana Halpern, with a special appearance by Tom Arnold. All right, getting near the end here. You know, I can't stop talking about guns, okay? And sometimes the gun people say, "Oh well, in Switzerland everybody has a gun, and they don't have as many shooting deaths as they do in the United States." Or whatever. No, there's an example of somebody having all these deaths and okay, I have to loosen this. I cannot. My brain is starting to not function. I'm actually feeling like weird stuff going on with my brain. I don't know how you guys do that. I just don't know how. Or maybe oh man, I think I damaged myself. And I could be like that swinging cat, you know, when they loosen their tie. It's like, yeah. All right. This is what I should do every Fez. Just wear my tie like this. Yeah, I should have went into that job interview like, "Hey, how's it going?" Yeah, you should hire me. This thing's tight. The knot is so tight, though. Excuse me while I fool with it. This thing's a mess. What do I do? All right, that's better. So, oh man, I really hurt myself. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, this whole thing about the Swiss. Oh yeah, there's a gun in every household, you know, and they can handle it. We could be able to do just like the Swiss, you know. This whole idea that there being too many guns is a problem, you know. Swiss can handle it. Well, if these guys would look into it, Swiss gun law, I could, by all means, let's handle it just like the Swiss do. The Swiss have some pretty strict gun laws, though. And I just go to Wikipedia page and wiki gun politics in Switzerland. And let's see, to carry firearms in public or outdoors, a person must have a gun-carrying permit. And in most cases, issued only to private citizens working in occupations such as security. There's a rule that they don't, it's there, but it's not hardly enforced, they said here. But when you purchase bullets at the range, you have to shoot them all and not take them with you when you're done or when you're finished. And then here it says unlawful possession of guns will be punished. Oh, and they, you know, every Swiss, male Swiss, I don't know what it is with the women, but you're mandatory to serve in their military. And then you're given your gun afterwards, but it's converted to being semi-automatic or single action. So having an automatic weapon, fully automatic, is illegal in Switzerland. Let's see, and it says unlawful possession of guns will be punished. Gun trade among individuals will require a valid weapon acquisition permit. This from a Swiss, okay. Every gun must be marked with a registered serial number. Airsoft guns and imitations of real guns will also be governed by law. Only one weapon may be purchased per weapon acquisition permit. Presumably, this will dry out the market for relatively cheap used guns. So these are relatively new laws, but they've always had some pretty strict policies. I heard, it's not here, and maybe I heard wrong, but somebody once told me that the Swiss they have like a military, so they're like a standing army ready to act. But their ammunition, this is the way they used to do it, I understand. Their ammunition was sealed. Um, and if they broke into it, they better had a damn good reason for doing it. Um, but don't hold me to that. But somebody told me that. Um, anyway, they have some pretty strict laws. You know. Um, so I say by all means, let's adopt the same laws that the Swiss have. Okay, I'm fine with that. You know, it's funny how they always use the Swiss as the argument, or not always, but a lot of them do use the Swiss as the argument. But they wouldn't. They wouldn't want the same laws there. I keep talking about guns. I know. What is this? Third week in a row? This is what I was talking about before. Check my gun. I was talking about the Old West. Check my gun. No way, Marshall. It says here, like the fight at the OK Corral, which by the way didn't happen in a corral in Tombstone, Arizona. It happened in an alley, and what the fight was over was that the local law is that they had to turn their guns in when they came into town, and let's see, the gun battle erupted when the marshal tried to enforce a local ordinance that barred carrying firearms in public. So in the Old West, Arizona's laws, gun laws, were more strict than they are now. Go figure. A judge had fined one of the victims $25 earlier that day for packing a pistol. And I guess $25 in those days was a pretty stiff fine, eh? Yeah, you could wear your gun into town, but you had to check it at the sheriff's office or the Grand Hotel, and you couldn't pick it up again until you were leaving town. So there you go. Let's see, go real. Oh, this is kind of an interesting thing. They have a new, Santa Monica has a camera-based system to help you find your lost car. You know, have you ever been in one of those big parking garages and you can't find your car? That happened to me once, especially when I drove MGs. They're so like low profile and small, and with all these SUVs around it, you can't see it. You know, it's like, whoa. You know, and then you start panicking. Wow, did somebody steal my car? Yeah, but who's going to steal an MG, right? Well, they're worried about civil libertarian type, you know, like ACLU and all that. Are wondering about the privacy issues, you know. And it said like, I don't know. I'm of two minds on that. But it said one of the things it could, like, somebody could track you down, you know, if you like you cut somebody off in traffic and this guy could find you, you know, using that camera system or something. I say, well, if you're cutting off people in traffic, then maybe you deserve somebody to chase you down. Like I said, I'm of two minds. I say, I really believe that as long as you're in a public area, I don't believe, you know, like in Big Brother in 1984, having a camera right in watching you in your house. That's what they had in 1984. All these people, oh, it's Big Brother, it's 1984. No, you need to read the book, man. It was pretty severe, you know. Oh, it's a slippery slope argument, you know. Oh, if they let that happen, then it's just going to go, we're just going to go sliding down that slippery slope. You know, if they give you parking tickets, then pretty soon they'll give you the death penalty. That's the slippery slope argument. Oh, if they allow this, you know, if they say there's a speed limit of 25 miles an hour, slippery slope argument would be like pretty soon you'll only be able to go 1 mile an hour. Yeah. Let's see, do I risk this? Good old Al Brookman. Do I dare risk this? Well, I'll say, you know, the centennial of Ronald Reagan's birth apparently is coming up. If he would have lived, I guess he'd be 100 years old. Is that what it says here? Yeah, centennial of his birth, February 6th. And I personally, when Ronald Reagan was in office, I wouldn't have thought of him, okay? But now he's become like an icon. He's been an icon for the Republican Party because he's probably one of the most popular Republican presidents in I don't know how long. And one of the things is that a lot of people like the Tea Party and Sarah Palin are you know, like, oh yeah, you know, Reagan Republicans and all that. But if they really knew, and Al Brookman, I mean, if you say the facts are different on this, let me know. But these people apparently don't know really what Reagan. You know, the thing is, like, his rhetoric was one thing, but look at what he actually did. Okay, and that's what they need to. That's probably the Tea Party and Sarah Palin. It's all rhetoric, and actually what they've done is like really nothing. What have they achieved? You know, I don't know. So let's see. I'm not going to read through all of this, but what's sort of interesting. Okay, I'll go ahead and read this whole paragraph to you. But in assessing any president, it's more illuminating to focus on what he did rather than the bombast delivered to the rubber chicken and mashed potato circuit. You know, that's the insider's term for, like, you know, those $100 a plate dinners, but you're getting mashed potatoes and rubber chickens. Where was I? Early in his political career as governor of California, Reagan displayed his pragmatic side, signing an abortion bill and agreeing to a $1 billion state tax hike. Similarly, as president, he paid lip service to ending abortion, but never did anything about it. And he worked with congressional Democrats on a massive tax hike in 1982, thereby averting the worst effects of the supply-side deficit spending he had endorsed when he entered office the year before. Now, if those facts are wrong, you know, be sure to chime out. But and it goes on to say that he did the hard, you know, evil empire stuff with the Russians. But when he was putting together a speech, he crossed out typed text and inserted by hand. This does not mean we should isolate ourselves and refuse to seek an understanding with them. I intend to do everything I can to persuade them of our peaceful intent. So, overall, I think Reagan was a reasonable man. I think. I mean, George W. Bush was much scarier. Was he a good father? I don't know. So anyway, I looked at the business section, and my first glance was, it says, urban malls are back in style. My first thing was like, oh my God, malls, I hate malls. But then I thought, well, it's a sign of the economy improving, and the word urban. And I think anything that draws people to the center, draws them into the city, is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Suburbs, what a nightmare. Let's see, and I see anything good in the calendar section here? Oh, the reason why I saved this. Yeah, the reason why I saved this. What can this mean? Rod Stewart and Stevie Nicks touring on the Heart and Soul Tour. Well, to me, there's something scary about that. They're going to be at the Hollywood Bowl Saturday, April 16th. A friend of mine, guy who was a white-collar guy. His name is Joe. He was a Mexican friend of mine. This is another side story. To kind of see racism firsthand is an ugly thing. I didn't think anything of it. He was my Mexican friend Joe, and he was like really well dressed. He had curly hair. Girls liked him, you know. He did all right. He was a handsome guy. Dressed well, you know. He wasn't like a cholo or anything like that. He's a white-collar guy. His dad was a white-collar person. And I went with him to a party, and I didn't think anything of it. And there was like all these younger white guys I knew from school. They didn't like there being a Mexican there. And that was an awkward situation because he was my guest. I brought him with me. I had no idea. I didn't think that way. It's an ugly thing. It's a terribly ugly thing. Oh, getting back, seeing Rod Stewart. The one time I saw Rod Stewart, and this is the kind of ladies' man Joe was, he bought all these tickets, for all these girls, women, He figured, I guess, out of the group he's going to get laid, but he's going to be Mr. Popular because he bought Rod Stewart tickets for all these young women, and he's going to take them to the show. Well, what happened is everybody made plans, and these girls weren't local girls. They were going to come down from Los Angeles and up from Mexico, and man, if you ever lived in San Diego in a border town, there's the Mexicans you think of, the ones that are the poor ones, the ones that have a lot of, they have a lot of Indian in them. They're darker, and they're the ones that you see, mowing the lawns and being nannies, and that's usually what they think, farm workers. But there's a vast class divide. It's going to happen in this country. This is what we need to avoid. We need a strong middle class. Mexico doesn't have a strong middle class. I would say Joe is probably middle class, but there's like a richer group, and they're all tend to be light-skinned, and they look more Spanish. Spaniards are not dark. Spaniards are pretty fair skinned. There's blue-eyed Spaniards. And I met a girl who was colored just like me, reddish brown hair. She was from Spain. Yeah, I was going to say something else about it, but I won't go there. So yeah. So some of these, when I say they came up from Mexico, girls can be total babes, like really, really hot. Dress nice, and all that. Go to good schools and things like that. So anyway, Joe invited. I think he bought like 10 tickets or something like that, and the Rod Stewart the Rod Stewart concert didn't get canceled, got postponed. So he ended up with all these extra tickets, and he said, "Well, what, I got all these tickets. You want to go see Rod Stewart?" I go, "Oh, Rod Stewart. All right." I went. I had a really good time. It was a really good show. Okay, that's my story. That's the end of it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, everybody have a great week, and thanks for watching Mondo Fez. Cheers.